All right, testing. Okay. Part of 1310 household tariff requirements for the household good carrier. 1310.1 scope of the definition. 1310.2 the requirement of maintain tariff. 1310.3 with the contents of tariff. 1310.4 incorporation tariff provisions of reference. 1310.5 availability of tariffs carrier offices. 1310.6 furnish copies of the tariff publications. 1310.1 scope of the definition of the provision with the part of the draft of the tariff requirements imposed by the Title 49 standard 13.702 of the market of the freight forward of the transportation household go to the knowledge of the requirements of the chef of the carriers must comply in order that you entitled to enforce the provision of their tariffs against the individuals whose shipments if the subject of their such tariff the provisions of part of the apply with all the movements of household goods defined with the C1 of the section of the movements of household goods defined in paragraph C2 of the section are not provided under contract standard within pursuant with the Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 14111 101B with the former Title 49 United States Code 1072 with the repeal of January 1st, 1996. For this purpose, the part of the term household goods means the personal effect of the property you to be used in dwelling and part of the equipment supply with such a dwelling and similar property with the transportation such effect for the property is arranged and paid for the household with included with the transportation property with the factory store with the property with the purchase by the householder intent with the use of his or her dwelling arranged and paid by another party for the purpose of the part of the service and means for the classification rules regulation practice for the effect with the rates and the charge level of the services movements for the household goods. 1310.2 the requirement of the maintain that tariff except for the providing transportation charitable purchases without charge for the carrier subject to the board jurisdiction chapter 135 of the Title 49 United States Code provide transportation service for the movement of the household goods only with the rate for the relay of the rule for the practice for the service such transportation services contained in the public share for the effectively under this section carrier may not charge for the receipt of the different compensation whether the transportation service the rate is specified with the tariff whether the returning of the rate part of the rate of the person from the given and the person privilege for allowing the use of the facility the effect of the value of the transportation service with another device. Tariffs shall be published in English language rate for the state within money of the United States. Tariffs maintained presumably part of the available the inspection board but must be provided with the board promptly with a free with the charge over the upon recovery of the mail other than delivery services. A carrier of the maintainment of the tariff pursuant with the part of the may not enforce the provision of the tariffs unless the carrier has given the notice of the tariffs available the inspection of the bill of landing out or by actual notice of the individual shipment of the subject of the tariff provided with the 1310.4 with this part of the board validated with the tariff prepared with the behalf of the carrier under this part of the tariff violates Title 49 13.702 with the or the regulations contained in this part. 1310.3 the contents of the tariffs prepared with this part of the must include the accurate description of the service of the officer for the public must provide with the specific applicable rate of the tariff the service terms must be arranged for the way of the law for the determination of the exact rate charges of the service terms of the applicable with the given and shipment increase with the production other changes that may be dissimulated with the highlighted in some way that facilitate ready identification with the change and their effects of dates. And all information necessary to determine an applicable rates and charge for the term of the given the shipment that must not be contained with a single tariff with the multiple tariffs or you with the convey with the information the tariffs containing the rates must be make specific rate for all the tariffs required to determine applicable rate charge for the serve the term of the carrier party of the rates must particular in all of the tariffs and linked to them and all such tariffs must be made available to shipper the unreasonable requests. 1310.4 incorporating tariff incorporation of the tariff provisions carriers of the main tariff of the purpose assume of this part may incorporate with the terms of the site for the tariff reference without staying with the full text into the bill of landing on the document with embodying the contract with the carriage of the transportation household goods and provide with the bill of landing other documents must contain conspicuous notice of the contract of the carriage incorporate with the term of the carriers the tariff of the carriers must give the notice of the tariffs available the inspection of the bill of landing any other no actual notice of individuals whose shipments are subject to such tariff the carriers must make with the full text of the incorporated term of the readily available the inspection shipper the free but the tariff of the upon request and stuff the terms cannot be made available immediately but must be made available promptly free of the charge of the mail other delivery services incorporated term with include the aim of the term set for the within paragraph the A21 through A23 of the section of the notice of the bill of landing and other documents indicate with the sub of the terms include the shipper must provide with a brief summary of the principal feature of the sub of the terms with the document the shipper must be able to must complete with the explanations of the terms upon the request. Limits of the carrier, the liability, losses, damage, delay with the goods, and include with the fragile, valuable goods, claim, and restricted include with the time period with the shipper, with the consignment will file with the claim, with the bring with the action again for the carrier, with the act of the mission, with the over the agent, or over the carrier to impose the monetary penalty with the shipper, the consignment, with the increase of the price of the transportation, any change with the term of the contract, All right. B. A carrier may not claim the benefit of the against a shipper or consigner, but the shipper or the consigner should not be found with any of the tariff if it incorporated with the reference under this section, unless the carrier has complied with the requirements of paragraph A of this section. The disclosure requirements established in the section preempt with the shape of the requirements of the same subject act for the tariff terms of the incorporated with the reference into the bill of lading other documents embodying the contract carriage of the transportation of the household goods. Or 13.10.5. The applicable tariff for the office of each of the carrier shall maintain with the principal office the complete set of the effective tariff of those of the which of the party. Each carrier shall also maintain some of the other tariffs other than the business of the office of the upon request of the carrier shall provide the information regarding the location of the tariff to be viewed. All of them at points where the tariff of the maintained shall be made available to inspection even the person during the carrier to normal hour the tariff shall be acceptable to readable with the carrier shall author to display with the conspicuous display of the location notice with the large print with the contains the statement of the tariffs available to public inspection. Add all other business of the officers of the carrier to display with the notice advising the public of the location there is available. The tariff of the notice shall be large print with the most of the conspicuous display with the addition with the carrier shall be upon the request of the tariff available to the location as soon as possible, no later than 20 days provided the solve of the information orally satisfactory requester. Any publication referred to in the tariff must be maintained in the tariff. And with the tariff maintained, presumably the paragraph B of the section has not been used for the substantial length of time and the availability of the tariff include the reissue of the discontinued office until such a time as again requested they shall then be made available 20 days. Within 20 days. Alright, 13.10.6. The furnishing copy of the tariff publication, copy of the tariff, specifically tariff provision, tariff subscription shall be provided upon the request of the interested person except for providing the ship of the full tariff of the term they incorporated with reference to the bill of lading other document embodying the contracting of the carriage of the transportation of the household goods as described in 13.10.4a1. Carriers may be assessed for the charge of the furnishing copy of the tariff publication. Interested person if charge made is made, but the charge must be responsibly identical with the same publication and delivery services. 13.12 regulation of publication, posting, filing tariffs for the transportation of the property by or with water carrier and non-contiguous domestic trade.